computer science, right? So that way engineering knowledge is to be acquired. Then you must be able to analyze the different problems which people actually uh, encounter, the problems the society encounters problems. So you must be able to analyze those problems. Then you must be able to design, develop a solution. Right? So conduct the problems, right? And how to come up with solution. Particular some so another important thing. As well as you must learn how to take part in teamwork. It's extremely important because in most of the cases in industry or in research, you will be working in teams, and those teams sometimes those teams are uh, they come from different disciplines and they work for the same goal. So that so you must understand and you must know how a team is built and how a team progresses and things like that. You must know how to communicate with the common people, with the experts, with the generic, with your peers. So there are different kinds of communication which are important, right? And when you communicate, you must understand that for engineering there is a vocabulary. For each kind of engineering, there is a vocabulary, and you must understand and you must know that those vocabulary. Right? Without the proper word, you cannot just express yourself. So that is another important. And of course, the project management and finance is one of the major important things. And final thing is lifelong learning. So when you grow up, with you, the field also, the particular discipline also grows up. So you must always go on learning. It is not that you have a BA degree and then that is the end of your learning. It cannot be like that. So lifelong learning is one of the major things. And what we do in Jalapur or in any of the universities, we prepare you for your lifelong learning. So you just go on. I mean, after you come out of the university, you go out of the university, you have certain experiences of learning and certain techniques of learning by which you can go on picking up things from the newer disciplines, and you can continue your learning, okay? So that you can go for a particular situation, and that situation you can handle. So that is the kind of. These are the program outcomes and program specific outcomes for computer science and engineering. I think this you know, but still I'm repeating it. So first of all, you must know how to develop software. Right? So in order to develop softwares, you must know how to design algorithms. You must analyze. You must be able to analyze complexity of algorithms. Cost-effective system development. So that is another issue. All these you must know. In terms of hardware designing, you must come up with a cost-effective, energy-efficient hardware. And energy efficiency is important to have sustainability and environmental friendly things. Some of the societal outreach which are important is applying computational methods to address diverse needs of the community for improving quality of life and environment. I don't know whether you know that these days actually there is some kind of a smart agriculture also. Okay. So in smart agriculture, what happens is uh, normally when you go for agricultural field, you use your this water and other kinds of chemicals and all, and you use them on an ad hoc basis. I mean, whatever you, or even the different kinds of chemicals which are really harmful. And that also you use, right? In case of agriculture. So what smart agriculture does is for each of the plant which is there, right? You have different kind of water requirement and different kind of chemical requirement, and you use those things in a very important expert system or AI based system, right? So that is also important. Right? Then professionalism is important by developing a sense of responsibility, professional ethics, communication skills, competence, environmental awareness, and self-learning. Okay? So these are also extremely important because when you go out of this university, you will be termed as a professional. And if you are a professional, if you have all these qualities, so you must have the responsibility, you must have that kind of professional ethics which is commensurate with the society, right? The communication skill is not less important, right? Competence is definitely required, but the other two things, which are environmental awareness and self-learning, they also make you a good professional. They just cannot sit at the corner of an office or your home and just go on writing programs. And those programs may be harmful to the society. So this you cannot do. That actually is beyond your professional ethics. So these are the program specific outcomes for CSE. Now, what are the different kinds of learning? So there are actually three domains of learning. That one is called the cognitive learning, and this is the most important because this is what we actually uh, are doing here, right? So essentially, the mental or intellectual thinking behaviors demonstrated by an individual. So this is what you do when you really learn different kinds of things like mathematics or physics or whatever. So they are essentially the cognitive kind of learning. The other kind of learning is called affective learning, which actually prepares you to handle different kinds of situations. Just one moment. হ্যালো, বলুন। হ্যাঁ, বলুন। আমি আছি কটায়, মানে আমার ৫টা অবধি একটা ক্লাস আছে। আচ্ছা, না ঠিক আছে। তাহলে আপনারা এলে ওটা করে দিয়ে হ্যাঁ, হ্যাঁ। লার্নিং areas. So quickly develop the algorithm, but when you are asked to write the program, then it takes 7 days. So that is not good. The speed is one of the major issues in psychomotor learning. So there are different kinds of knowledge levels in cognitive learning. You have to remember things, you have to understand things, then you have to apply the knowledge or apply whatever you have understood. Then with that experience, you have to analyze the problems or evaluate different kinds of solutions of the problem, and then create the actual solution or the final solution. So these are the different levels of learning or the knowledge levels. So for any topic, whatever be the topic, these are the 6 levels of knowledge. In case of affective learning or affective levels, there are first you receive things, means you listen things, you write something and somebody writes it, then you read things and things like that. So you receive certain information, then you respond to the situation. You should value others' approaches or others, I mean, others' activities or behaviors. Then you must try to organize and conceptualize. You should be characterized by value or value concept. So essentially, what is important is you are doing something new or you are doing something old, but whether you have added value to that. So it is not that you are doing the same thing again and again, but every time you do it, you do something for the to add value and to go up in the value chain. That is very important. Finally, the psychomotor skill, right? First of all, you imitate, right? You go to a machine shop, you look at the person who is working, and imitate him. Then you know that after you have some experience, then you try to manipulate your own kind of thing. I mean, each particular person has different kind of sequence of work, right? So that manipulation you can do. Then you must achieve the precision which is important. And articulation is important because you have to explain what you have done and why you have done that. And finally, you naturalize that whole thing into your senses. So whenever something comes, some problem comes, you solve that problem in a natural manner. I mean, that whole trait as inbuilt and built into yourself so that you become a very good professional. So, and a skilled worker, a skilled engineer. So that is what is the psychomotor learning or psychomotor skill. So essentially, all these things are required to really grasp whatever we are discussing here and how we go for the implementation and application of whatever we learn. In engineering as well as in science, it is not only important to learn certain rules and techniques or formula, but also it is important how you apply your knowledge to the real life situation or real life problems. Okay. So whatever we have been talking here, is to really make you fit for a good engineer who will have a lot of knowledge with him, not only in his own discipline but also in other disciplines. And then in the field, he or she will be really applying those knowledge and solving the problems. Okay? So, any question up till now? Anybody? Any question? Any question? Or any query or any response or any clarification required? Okay. So both Vishanko and Snehanjan, were you there yesterday? Snehanjan ভাই কি গতকাল ছিলে? ছিলে। দেখতে হবে, যাই হোক, নামটা মনে পড়ছে না। Anyway. Okay, so now let us go back to the presentation, and we'll discuss the outline of the syllabus. Okay. So this you should properly note down. Of course, I'll send this PDF of this presentation to the group. So this is the course outcome. Okay. There are 5 types of things. One is understand the data type abstraction for linear and non-linear data arrangement. So this is important. So there are data arrangements which are linear and there are data arrangements which are non-linear, and you must understand their abstraction. Okay. So knowledge level required here is K2. So if you go back to that slide, then you will find out that which knowledge level you are going to achieve here. The second course outcome is the implementation of static and dynamic, linear and non-linear data structure. Okay. So essentially, we will not only find out the abstraction of the data types, but also implement them. And there are certain data structures which are data types which are static. There are certain others which are dynamic. There are certain data structures which are linear, and there are certain data structures which are non-linear, and we must be able to implement all of them, different types. The third outcome is the design algorithms using elementary algorithm design strategies. So there are a set of algorithm design strategies. We should understand the strategies, and then using the strategies, we must know how to design the algorithms. And this is an important activity. Finally, in 4, CO4 or course outcome 4, analyze and implement algorithms and data structures for time and memory usage efficiency. So essentially, we must be able to analyze the algorithms, right, and data structures also for time and memory efficiency, and then implement them also. So it is not only sufficient to analyze them, but also implement them. And in analysis, what we do is we find out the theoretical nature or theoretical efficiency. When we implement the algorithms using C language or any other language, then we must also experimentally find out whether the algorithm which you have developed follow the analysis. Okay, so that is important. So all these four outcomes or four kind of knowledges will enable you to solve computing problems by selecting or developing data structures and algorithms for efficient improvement. So you must be, by the end of this course, you will be having a repertoire of data structures which are there and a repertoire of algorithms which are also there. And you must be able to solve larger problems by selecting these data structures, or if necessary by developing new data structures, and of course by selecting algorithms and or by developing algorithms. So these are the five levels of outcomes which are important, right? And the semester questions will be on these lines. Okay, that's why I'm spending time on this, because in the semester question we'll be asking you questions in these lines. Okay. We'll come back later on this particular thing, later in the course. Now this is the syllabus. I think you can read it. With each topic there are certain course outcomes which are mentioned. So more or less we will follow this sequence also. So first of all, we'll go for the introductory topic like information, what is information, what is data, what are data types, what are abstract data types, etc. Then we'll go for the take array. Array you have been using as a language feature. But here we'll discuss as an ADT. Then structures also as ADT. Then some example like polynomials or sparse matrix or list is interest. Arrays and structures. After that, we just have a brief review of pointers, and followed by linked lists, different kinds of linked lists. Okay. And again, will apply them to the implementation of polynomial sparse matrices. And this will be followed by the discussion on algorithm design method. These are the some kinds of algorithm design methodology. Of course, there are other methodologies which are also important. After you know how to design algorithms, you must understand how to analyze the algorithm. Okay. So we have different kinds of analysis methods, right? And different kinds of algorithms we will try to analyze, and how to measure the program efficiency. So analysis of algorithm, but when you measure the programs. Okay. So that is what we'll do. That is what we'll do here. So after that, we will have this sorting and searching. So this is sorting and searching as a topic, right? Different kinds of searching and sorting methods, followed by the ADT of stack and queue. And there are various kinds of implementations. And of course, we'll discuss in detail the recursion. So recursion is very important. I think you know recursion, but this is a very important thing, and how recursion is implemented and how that is where they are important, where recursive programs are important, where you cannot use recursive programs, and things like that. So, followed by the tree data structure. Different kinds of trees are there. Lot of different kinds of trees are there. After that, we'll have some discussion on graph. Graph is another kind of very generic data structure, which is extremely important in data structure algorithms, as well as in many of the applications, as well as in non-computational problems like management problems. Here also graph is very important. Hash table is a very important topic now because of this huge data which are being processed now. A lot of different kinds of hash functions are being used. So we'll discuss them along with certain applications. And finally, we'll complete this whole thing by advanced topics like B plus tree, Bloom filter, etc. And some of the applications. This is the syllabus. Somebody wanted the books, so these are the books. This is the list of books. A lot of books are there. We will use the first one as the textbook. So if you can purchase one, you can, the latest edition. Or what I'll do is I'll send a soft copy of this textbook. It's a very standard, internationally standard book. Followed by different other books. Many of the books are available in our library, departmental library. Some books will be consulted, maybe number 8 and number 9 will be consulted for some particular topics. And if necessary, I can send you those topics. That is also scanned copy of those. So any question up till now? Anybody has any question? Any question up till now? কারোর কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে? বাংলায় বলতে পারবো, হিন্দিটা আমি ভালো বলতে পারি না।
So what is the importance of data structure?
What is that?
Importance of data.
I think this I'll take up in the first introductory class. Okay? This is just a course outline. So, I mean, I can tell you in one line. If you go for say electronics, right? In electronics, there is a topic, electronic devices, right? And there is another topic which is electronic circuits. So whatever you do in electronics, you must use certain electronic devices. And whatever you do in electronics, you must use certain circuits. Okay? So without electronic devices and electronic circuits, you cannot do anything. You cannot just develop anything. The equivalence of devices in electronics is the data structures, and the equivalence of circuits are the algorithms. Okay. So whatever you do, wherever you go, data structures will be there and algorithms will be there. So in a very nutshell, I can say that. Are you satisfied?
Yes, I mean, This topic is important.
And that's why it is a core course. Yesterday I told you that this is a core course. Wherever you go, either you go for job interview or a master's interview or PhD interview or uh, academic interviews, right? Like academic position interviews. If that is on computer science and engineering, you must be facing one or other question on data structures and algorithms. That I can assure you. So even if you do not like my class, my request is that you should understand the topic and you should read the books which I refer you. That is important. It is not important that you uh, attend all the classes, because all of you are very, very intelligent, all of you know English, and all the books are in English, right? So if you don't want to attend my class, fine, no problem. But my request will be that you please get the things done at your own pace. Okay? Because I don't keep attendance or anything. Right? Doesn't matter. If you find my class interesting or useful, you attend the class. If you do not find my class interesting or useful, then you may not attend the class. I don't mind. But the suggestion is that, or even I can say that the instruction is, since this is a very basic thing and very core aspect of computer science and engineering, you should not neglect the topic. You can neglect the lectures, but you should not neglect the topic, okay, or the subject. Okay? If you neglect the subject, then you will be at a loss after some time. Because every subject, every topic, every advanced topic will have some reference to some of the data structures and some of the algorithms. Okay. Okay, let us go back to the presentation because there are a few more slides. So what about the lab course? So the lab course comprises of a series of assignments on data structure and algorithms, and they are to be implemented in C language on Linux operating system. So this will follow the progress of the theory course. Theory course, the way the topics of the will be discussed in theory course, the algorithm, the assignments will be also in parallel, they will be given. Right? So the basic thing is that they will include implementation of ADTs, abstract data types, different algorithms and applications to solve real-life problems. This is how we have organized the different assignments. And in the assignments, we have also to measure the performance of the programs developed. Right? So that is also part of the assignment. So it is not only writing the program. First of all, you have to write the program, you have to debug it, you have to finally run it in a correct manner. But that is not all. For a computer engineer, it is very, very important that you should also measure the performance of your program. And particularly in different load conditions and different kinds of constraints, okay, how your program performs. So that is important. And that measurement, the performance measurement is important. When you talk to your peers, you can say that my program takes 10 milliseconds to complete. Right? Your peer may claim that his or her program, completes by say 5 milliseconds or 5 microseconds. But you can always contest that it is not possible to do or to complete this within 5 microseconds. But now this conversation whatever I have told you, this conversation has no meaning, because when you are writing a program, your the time taken by the program will depend on the amount of data it is processing. Okay. So for a very minuscule size of data, your program, I mean your competitor's program, may complete within say 5 microseconds, but you may have taken say 1 billion data, right? Data elements. So naturally your uh, program will take more time for that particular data set. So these are the kind of things which are very, very important, which normally when we do conversations on technical things, we must be very, very technical. Okay? Both in terms of using the words and also in terms of using the different kinds of metrics. Particularly, we should have some kind of numerical metric. We should not have qualitative metric, like this program is good, that program is better, that is the best, and things like that. That is not the way to work what engineers actually are. Okay? মানে আমি কখনোই বলবো না যে ওই ছেলেটা খুব লম্বা বা এই ছেলেটা এই মেয়েটা খুব বেটে, এইসব কথা বলার কোনো মানে নেই। তুমি যখন একজন ইঞ্জিনিয়ার বা সায়েন্টিস্ট, তখন তোমার বলতে হবে যে ওই ছেলেটা প্রায় 6 ফুট 9 ইঞ্চি লম্বা। হ্যাঁ, তার মানে সত্যি বিরাট লম্বা। 6 ফুট 9 ইঞ্চি মানে অনেকটাই লম্বা, প্রায় 7 ফুট কাছাকাছি। বা একজন কাউকে বলতে পারো ও হচ্ছে 4 ফুট, তাহলে ও অনেকটাই। So engineering, when you are reading engineering and when you are going to be a professional in engineering, you must use those measures, and particularly numerical measures, okay? And proper scales also, proper units also. That is extremely important. You just বলতে পারো না যে একজন 50 লম্বা বা 35 বেটে, এরকম ভাবে বলতে পারো। So you have to use some kind of unit, and that unit also must be very, I mean, usually used. I mean, usually units. Okay, like say in the case of height of a person, usually আমরা কি করি, আমরা বলি in terms of say feet or inch. Okay, and if you always use millimeters, then that is not good. Right? You বললে যে 200 মিলিমিটার বা 200 সেন্টিমিটার। তো এগুলো মানে ইঞ্জিনিয়ার হতে গেলে তোমাকে প্র্যাকটিক্যাল হতে হবে, and you have to communicate with others in their language, right? So that is important. Okay. So the lab outcomes, I mean, for the lab, what you should understand is
দাম কমে তো 275 দাম।
খুব ভালো রাখবে আমার।
অদৃশ মিউট কর।
আমার মনে হয় লোকজন একটু বিরক্ত হয়ে যাচ্ছে, ওই জন্য এইসব করছে। আমি খুব তাড়াতাড়ি শেষ করে দিচ্ছি। So first of all, you have to implement given ADT as a data structure, right? Then you should implement given algorithms using the strategy in C language, all using C language. Choose the appropriate data structure and algorithm design method for a specified application to be developed in a structured and modular form. We'll discuss what is structured and what is modular later. Apply systematic testing and debugging method on developed applications and measure the performance of them. And you should be able to write proper reports in acceptable format for the applications development. So this is what is are the course outcomes of the DSA lab. Right? There are two different courses. Right? One is a lab course and the other is a theory course. So the outcomes are different, as you will understand. Now somebody asked why we should use C. So essentially this is a programming language which runs on everything, every machine. You can have a C compiler, right? And it doesn't use much of resources. Okay? All the resources are in your control, right? So you also have very few constraints on the programming side. You don't have any specific ideology. I mean, it's not object oriented, it's not functional. So, and then there are very few programs you can't write in C. Most of the programs you can write in C. And the other programming languages which you are using, you may use, right? So they are executed by interpreters or compilers written in C or C++. So essentially, the lowest level of high-level language is C, and if you learn this, then you can pick up any language very fast. So it is very, very important to understand the concepts and then implement the concepts in C. Of course, there are some negative points of C also that we'll discuss. So this actually, since there are no specific discipline which is imposed, so you will learn self-discipline, right? Okay. So you must be very careful, right? So basically, this carefulness which you acquire by writing C programs, that will make you, okay, a good programmer in many other languages, all other languages. So a lot of features are not there, which are there in modern programming. Like you don't have a garbage collector in Java. You have a garbage collector. What is garbage and why? So array bound type system is also not strong. You can non-trivial there in C. In C we build those. And of course, there is no language support for the exceptions or namespaces or object-oriented programming, etc. They are not in C. So it's a pure, simple, sequential programming language. And everything is under the control of the programmer. Right? So that's why people, when they get mature, in many cases they don't prefer C. But since you are a beginner that way, we'll be using C. So for any review of C, you can go for the Carnegie and Ritchie book, right? Second edition, which actually have this ANSI standard. Okay? Hello. আমি একটু ক্লাসে রয়েছি, মিনিট 5 বাদে ফোন করছি। So any question or comment or any clarification necessary? We are almost at the fag end of the class. Any question from anybody?
স্যার সি যেহেতু ইউজ করা হয় বাকি ইন্টারপ্রিটারস বা কম্পাইলার বানানোর জন্য অন্য ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে, তাহলে সি এর কম্পাইলারটা কি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ দিয়ে, ওটা কি অ্যাসেম্বলি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ হবে না?
সি এর কম্পাইলারটা সি তে লেখা হয়। তোমরা যখন কম্পাইলার করবে তখন দেখবে যে সি এর কম্পাইলারটা সি তে লেখা হয়।
কিন্তু স্যার তাহলে ওই কম্পাইলারের কোডটা কম্পাইল হবে কি করে, মানে ওটা একটা সেলফ?
প্রথমে একটা ছোট্ট কম্পাইলার লেখা হয়, তারপরে বড় কম্পাইলারটা লেখা হয়। Of course, there are assembly level languages also. Assembly level compiler লেখা হয়, কিন্তু সেটা খুব মানে tedious, এখনকার দিনে আর কেউ করে না।
আচ্ছা, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Okay. Any other question? I think it is a good question. It was a good question. GitHub যেটা আছে, GitHub এ ubuntu যে সোর্স প্রোগ্রামটা আছে, কমপ্লিট সোর্স প্রোগ্রাম ইজ ইন সি। এটা তো শুধু আমি বললাম যে শুধু সি এর কথা, মানে শুধু অপারেটিং সিস্টেমের কথা। অল কম্পাইলার্স আর রিটেন মোস্টলি ইন সি। যে কোনো জায়গায় যখন তুমি রিয়েল টাইম প্রোগ্রাম লিখবে, রিয়েল টাইম সিস্টেমের জন্য প্রোগ্রাম লিখবে, মোস্টলি দে আর রিটেন ইন সি। তো যারা সি প্রোগ্রাম এবং মানে সি প্রোগ্রাম লেখে, ভালো সি প্রোগ্রামার, তাদের কিন্তু অনেক জায়গাতেই প্রচন্ড ডিমান্ড। So of course there are Java or C++ programmers are also required. It is not that object-oriented program দরকার নেই, খুবই দরকার, কিন্তু most of the object-oriented programs are for application development. কিন্তু যে কোনো ধরনের সিস্টেম প্রোগ্রাম যখন ডেভেলপ করা হয় তখন it requires C. And particularly in computer science and or computer engineers, they are for the development of tools. তুমি টুলগুলো ডেভেলপ করবে যেগুলো অন্যরা ইউজ করবে, ফলে এটা একটু মাথায় রাখতে হবে। মানে শুধু মানে জাস্ট লাইক দ্যাট প্রোগ্রামিং মানে হাই লেভেল, মানে ভেরি হাই লেভেল প্রোগ্রামিং, সেটাও সম্ভব। আজকের দিনে এমন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ আছে যেখানে এইসব সি প্লাস প্লাস জাভা টাভার আরও উপরে যাবে, 4th generation ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ আছে। All these languages are very, very high level languages. But for the implementation or for the operation of those languages, you need some tools, some layers which are developed in C. এজন্য সি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজটা জানাটা খুব দরকার। অনেক জায়গাতেই আজকাল অনেক জায়গাতে ইন্ট্রোডাক্টরি প্রোগ্রামিং শেখানো হচ্ছে অন্য ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে, ধরো পাইথনে শেখানো হচ্ছে, অনেক জায়গায় আছে। জানি না তোমরা বেসিক ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজটা জানো কি। আমাদের যেমন আমরা প্রোগ্রাম যখন শিখেছিলাম প্রোগ্রামিং, তখন আমরা বেসিক বলে একটা প্রোগ্রামিং ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ, BASIC, বেসিক। হ্যাঁ, বিগিনার্স অল পারপাস স্ট্যান্ডার্ড ইন্টারচেঞ্জ কোড, অদ্ভুত নাম, যাই হোক। কিন্তু পরে আমরা দেখেছি যে বেসিক ওর কোনো লাভ নেই। আলটিমেটলি ইউ হ্যাভ টু লার্ন এ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ হুইচ gives you from the bit level access to the abstraction. Okay. So from bit level to abstraction, if you want to have your control on the program, you must learn C. C তোমাকে শিখতে হবে ওই কারণে, পুরো জিনিসটাই তোমার কন্ট্রোলে থাকছে। হ্যাঁ, অনেক একটা সময় ওই কিউ বেসিক ছিল, রাইট? ঠিকই বলো, কুশল বলছে।
স্যার সি কেন সি প্লাস প্লাস না, মানে সি এ অনেকগুলো ডিসঅ্যাডভান্টেজ তো সি প্লাস প্লাস এ কভার করা হয়।
হ্যাঁ, সি প্লাস প্লাস হলেই তোমার টেন্ডেন্সি হবে পুরো ব্যাপারটাকে অবজেক্ট ওরিয়েন্টেশনে নিয়ে যাওয়া, কিন্তু আসলে সিটা হচ্ছে বেসিস আর কি। সি প্লাস প্লাস হচ্ছে অ্যাকচুয়ালি এক্সটেনশন অফ সি by introduction of the object oriented features. হ্যাঁ? তোমাকে যদি আমি C++-এ করাই তখন তোমার সঙ্গে সঙ্গে যেটা মনে হবে যে আমার এই জিনিসগুলো অলরেডি আছে, তাহলে আর ডেভেলপ করবো। কিন্তু আসলে তো ডেভেলপ করছো তুমি ব্যাপারটা বোঝার জন্য। হ্যাঁ, আমরা যখন শুরু করব তখন দেখবে, প্রোগ্রামিং যখন শুরু করবো, প্রোগ্রামিং মানে ধরো ইনিশিয়ালি নয়, আরেকটু এগোলেই দেখবে 4-5টা ক্লাসের পরেই দেখবে ওয়াই উই রিকোয়ার সি। এটা এটা আজকে এক্ষুনি বোঝানোটা খুব মুশকিল। Any other question or any other comment or any other clarification? You are almost at the end. এই জন্যই তো ওই যে অলরেডি একজন বলতে আরম্ভ করেছে C++, HTML in the lab assignment আমরা পড়বো না, আমরা স্ট্যান্ডার্ড টেমপ্লেট লাইব্রেরি ইউজ করব। হ্যাঁ, কেন করবো না সেটা বলবো পরে যখন ল্যাব ক্লাস করবো। আমরা নেক্সট উইক থেকে আশা করছি ল্যাব শুরু করবো। হ্যাঁ, তখন বলবো। ওকে, তাহলে আমরা যেটা
স্যার ল্যাব ক্লাসটা কি অফলাইনে কোনোভাবে কন্ডাক্ট করা যেতে পারে?
আমার আপত্তি নেই, আমি তো আসছি, কিন্তু অন্যরা আসবে কিনা, ল্যাবের যারা আছেন তারা আসবেন কিনা আমি তো বলতে পারছি না। মানে আমার তো তাদের উপর কন্ট্রোল নেই। তোমাদের বোধহয় বুধবার দুটো ক্লাস আছে না, দুটো 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 সেকশনের ল্যাব আছে, তাই না?
হ্যাঁ,
ওয়েডনেসডে দুটো ল্যাবের সেশন। আমি দেখছি কালকে আসবো আমি, কালকে তো ওরা আসবে ল্যাবের যারা আপনাদের জিজ্ঞেস করবো। অ্যাকচুয়ালি একটা সমস্যা হচ্ছে যে আমি যদি ল্যাব খুলতে বলি আবার তারা খুলবে কিনা, তারপর ধরো 12-15 জন যদি আসে, তারপর আবার ইউনিভার্সিটির কেউ কিছু বলবে কিনা, এইসব প্রবলেম আছে। আমার কোনো আপত্তি নেই, কিন্তু আসছে। আর তোমাদের আমি ওই জন্য আগের দিন জিজ্ঞেস করছিলাম, মোস্ট অফ ইউ হ্যাভ অলরেডি ইউ আর ভ্যাকসিনেটেড, সো দ্যাট ওয়ে আই ডোন্ট হ্যাভ এনি প্রবলেম, আই ডোন্ট হ্যাভ এনি ইস্যু। কিন্তু কালকেই তো দেখলেন ইউনিভার্সিটিতে প্রায় 11-12টা ভিডিও ভাইস চ্যান্সেলর কাটতে রাখা হয়েছিল। এখন আমি যদি হঠাৎ করে বলি এটা কি রিপারকাশন হবে আমি জানি, বাট আই ডোন্ট হ্যাভ এনি প্রবলেম। আর তোমরা যদি বলো যে আমরা নিজেরা ল্যাপটপ নিয়ে আসবো, আমাদের তোমরা আমার ঘরে বসে কাজ করবে, করে দেখাবে, এটা তো কোনো প্রবলেম নেই, এনি ডে।
তাহলে স্যার ওটা করার জন্য আপনাকে মানে ফোন করে আগে থেকে ইনফর্ম করে রাখতে হবে কি যে কজন যাচ্ছি বা কিছু?
মানে আমার ঘরটা তো দেখেছো, ঘরে তো 10-12 জন বসতেই পারে।
ওকে স্যার, ওকে।
সেটা অসুবিধা নেই, কারণ আমি ঠিক ল্যাব খোলানোটা মানে বিয়ন্ড মাই ক্যাপাবিলিটি। আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করতে পারি, বাট আই ক্যান অর্ডার দেব। কিন্তু আমার
হ্যাঁ
ঘরে
স্যার, একটু
বসে
যদি আপনি সাজেস্ট করে দেন তাহলে ভালো হয়।
কাদের বলছো বলো আরেকবার।
আমি বলছি যে স্যার আপনি যদি যারা ল্যাবের ইনচার্জ আছেন তাদেরকে যদি একটু সাজেস্ট করে দেন তাহলে একটু ভালো হয়।
না না, সাজেস্ট করলে তো হবে না, তাদের উপরে তো ইউনিভার্সিটির ইয়ে হচ্ছে যে ল্যাব ল্যাব খুলবে না, কিন্তু তারা আসবে, ল্যাব এমনি দেখভাল করবে, ছাত্ররা আসবে না। এটা তো ইউনিভার্সিটির ইনস্ট্রাকশন। বিকজ অফ দ্য প্যান্ডেমিক স্টুডেন্টস আর নট অ্যালাউড, এটা হচ্ছে ইউনিভার্সিটির ইনস্ট্রাকশন। আমি তো তাকে ওভাররাইড করতে পারি না, আমি বলে দেখতে পারি, কিন্তু ওই সমস্যাটা রয়েছে। ইউনিভার্সিটি ধরো রেজিস্ট্রার হঠাৎ করে বলেন আপনি কেন ছাত্রদের, তখন তোমরাও বিপদে পড়বে, আমি সেই
তাহলে স্যার তাহলে বেশি ফিজিবল লাগবে যে আমরা ল্যাপটপ নিয়ে এসে আপনার যদি কেবিনে ক্লাস করি।
সেটা করতেই পারবে, সেটা নিয়ে কোনো সমস্যা নেই, সেটা নিয়ে কোনো সমস্যা নেই। কিন্তু সেটা যারা কাছাকাছি আছো তারা পারবে, আর আদারওয়াইজ বাকিদের আমরা অনলাইনে করবো।
ঠিক আছে স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
ঠিক আছে, 5টা বেজে গেছে, সবাই পালাচ্ছে, আমিও তাহলে ইয়ে করি। আমি এই প্রেজেন্টেশনটা আজকে আমি পিডিএফ এ পাঠিয়ে দেবো। অল দ্য প্রেজেন্টেশন আই সেন্ড বাই ইন দ্য পিডিএফ মোড, হোয়াট এভার ডকুমেন্টস আর নেসেসারি আই সেন্ড, and I'll request you to interact within the class. যখন ক্লাসটা হবে তখন একটু ইন্টারাক্ট করুন, তাহলে আমারও সুবিধা হয়। মাঝে মাঝে আমি গ্যাপ দিয়ে দিয়ে তোমাদের সঙ্গে ইন্টারাক্ট করার চেষ্টা করবো, তো দ্যাট ইউ ট্রাই। সো Let me stop presently. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.